let's get into it. So, what's up, y'all? My name is Corey. Stay trapping. This is the Trap Talks podcast where we talk about the intersection of culture and tech. And today we got a special guest, Devon, aka I guess I gotta give me your government name, right? Victor D. Lombard. Did I pronounce that right?
You pronounce it right.
Cool, cool. Serial entrepreneur. You're also the founder of Solvent, which is a financial, I would call it like a financial independence app, right?
What was the
Uh,
banking and financial empowerment platform?
exactly,
We
exactly.
call it like a super neo bank is what we coined it. Super neo
Super
bank.
Neo Baby. Yeah. Rapper. I mean, you're a Jamaican. You got like hella jobs, right? Working with Dream.
Wagwan.
You've been a part of Visa's startup program, a cohort participant in the FinTech Accelerator. Um, Also working with Village Capital. I mean, I can go on and on here,
Yeah,
but
Form Free. Yeah, I'm the head of culture at Form Free.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, a
So
few things, man. A few
few
things.
things, yeah. So that's good, man. That's good. So yeah, I know I missed a lot, but is there anything else you want to touch on that you're currently working on?
I mean, yeah. We building Solvent. Like, again, Solvent is a mobile first, all-in-one banking and financial empowerment platform, um, focused on the system impacted to optimize their financial lives. And when we think about people who system impacted, uh, we break that up into like four segments: the socioeconomically disadvantaged, the formerly incarcerated, uh, the family, friends, and loved ones of the formerly incarcerated and or incarcerated and the incarcerated. And of course, as you know, my background, my history, I'm somebody who's been system impacted. I come out of poverty, uh, went to prison, so I'm formerly incarcerated. I dealt with recidivism. I dealt, which was a negative psychological cycle of that. I got caught into that for years after being released. So so Solvent is really like is really there, to who I am and and what I've been through.
Yeah,
And then I'm working with Form Free as a head of culture, really just doing the outreach and connecting them with individuals that are unserved and underserved. So getting them access to credit through loans, whether that's personal, auto, or home.
got it, got it. Yeah, so I want to have fun with this because I want to jump around here. So
Yeah, yeah, I'm cool with it. However you want to flow with it.
yeah, that's one thing you said that we talked a few days ago. You said you went from crack
Crack
rap.
to rap to tech.
Yeah, and I'm like, hey man, first off, you need to put that on the shirt. So I'm going to tell you, you better trademark that before we drop this video. So
Yeah, yeah, no doubt they trying to steal
yeah,
my
yeah,
steal my my sayings, man, my jargon.
yeah, yeah. So break that down for us. You touched on it a little bit, but I think that's very important for us to like really understand what that is because those are three things have basically molded your life, right?
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
yeah,
So
definitely.
break that down for us. Like you went from
Okay.
crack rap
So
to
so from what you know me as, let's go right to the tech part, right?
right,
Um, because that's what you know me from. You know me from the tech part. So when we think about that, we think about how I was able to connect with one of the highest levels of Silicon Valley venture capital, break in, be exposed to technology, the technology industry, then start building within the fintech space. So when that happened for me, my story kind of went viral a little, or, semi viral, and because of the individual I connected with within Silicon Valley that brought me in, exposed me to all of this. Because he's such a big individual, he's such a huge individual in the space. I was getting a lot of press, so I said, and I coined that from crack to rap to tech. So when I talked to the press, I was kind of like the story, from
right.
crack to rap to tech. Me being a wordsmith and being, a professional hip hop rap recording artist, I always play with words. So from crack to rap to tech was kind of like how I frame my story. So the tech piece is like the third part of my story, my life journey. If we go back to the from crack piece, that deals with um me being exposed to poverty or succumbing to poverty, being, abruptly thrust into poverty, surrounded in the negative environment by drugs and crime and violence, due to my mother's drug addiction at the age of 10. And my eventual or subsequent incarceration at 19 years of age in federal prison for 7 years. So that's like from crack piece. So that kind of covers that first part of my story, you know, then initial journey, being born and raised in Newport, Rhode Island, you know, to a middle class family, single parent household, just my mom's. I knew who my father was, but he wasn't really in my life. And then her drug addiction, which led to me being, coming into poverty in the projects, and then getting involved with crime to survive, and then going to prison. So that's the from crack. So rap is a piece where um I sat in prison and I had a determined idea to become a professional hip hop rap recording artist. And I had just been exposed to spirituality at a high level. And I wanted to really use music because I loved hip hop so much. I wanted to use music as a tool to uplift and enlighten um people. You know what I mean? So I hone my craft while in prison, hone my skills. Uh, decided I was gonna not only be an artist, but also be an executive. And I started planning um to start my own record label. So that's from crack. So that's the to rap piece. And then eventually the last time I was incarcerated, I read about this venture capitalist who loved hip hop and used it to teach business lessons to his employees. I was intrigued by that, and I thought to myself, if I could reach out to him or connect with him, he could change my life. And that was in prison that happened. When I came home, I eventually reached out to him on Twitter, and then that's where the tech piece comes into play, and that's where you know me from. So I hope I broke that down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah, and so I actually want to go a little bit more into that because you talked about how, and for everyone who's listening, he's talking about Ben Horowitz. But basically, you talk about rap, how he used rap to partake or to share like business lessons. What's one album or a few albums where you're like, wow, this actually gave me like a good, almost like a good MBA on how to do good business. I got one in my head, but
Well, honestly, Ben was the one who used hip hop to teach
Mhm.
business lessons to his employees.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that was actually Ben. But to add on to what you asked me, um, I was already in the streets. When I came into hip hop, I was already somebody that was in the streets in the projects. So there wasn't really much that hip hop gave me early on, um, that directed guided me in business. But the correlation to my life in hip hop was that hip hop comes out of the struggle. It comes
Right.
out of poverty. It comes out of pain. It comes out of a negative environment, negative situation where you're just trying to strive to better yourself. Hip hop gave hope to people. You know what I mean? As KRS One says, uh, her slash his infinite power, healing oppressed people. Hip hop, right?
Right.
So hip hop was something that gave us hope. And when I listen to hip hop, I identify with it because of the struggle that I was in. I
Hmm.
saw it as rebelling against rebelling against your condition, like not accepting your condition, knowing that your condition is man made, and the forces outside of you have dictated this is going to be your condition, and just rising up out of that. You know what I mean? So that's what inspired me about hip hop. Me having that that desire, that burning desire to rise out of poverty, rise out of the projects, get back to my middle class life, free my mother from drug addiction. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's what it was about for me. And I really loved a lot of positive hip hop. Then around 87, when NWA hit the scene, I really strongly identified with that because that was the life I was living. You know what I mean? After police, we running drugs, we running from cops. Like
Yeah.
I was the life I was living. So I
Yeah.
really identify with that music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where it kind of changed for me when I got deep into crime or crime culture.
Mm. What's that one song or album that made you say like, yeah, I think I can rap. I want to rap now.
Yeah, that's funny you say that because before prison, I actually was a DJ. I wrote graffiti. I did with all the elements of hip hop.
You break oh you
I,
broke because
I
I
would break
remember hearing it.
dance.
Yeah, because I remember hearing like anytime I talked to people who came up around that time when rap was just getting on, they did everything. DJ,
I
graffiti,
indulge, yeah, I indulge in
breakdancing.
all. I indulge in all the elements of hip hop,
Wow.
but but MCing is what I gravitated towards. That was real. My real talent was that. I
Yeah.
could break dance and all that. I could write graffiti, tag things up and all that. Um, but really, DJing, I did some DJing and all that. But music as a whole is really what empowered me as a youth. It really gave me hope. It really gave me an outlet to express myself. So I've been writing since I was like 11, 12 years old,
Yeah.
10 years old. I've been putting my pen game down. And
Yeah.
I realized I had a gift for it. But I wouldn't go on to say this is what I was gonna do or pursue it as a professional pathway or path for my life until I was in prison. But
Mm.
so yeah, so I've been doing my thing with the lyricals, man. Since I was young, I was one of the best from around my way. You know what I mean? One of the best in the state where I was born, and my accolades have been on the level of people like a Rakim, like a Nas, like Wu Tang. Like I've got that type of level of respect. You know what I'm saying? And,
Yeah.
and accolades, man.
Yeah. And
Word up.
when I was listening to your album, it felt like I went back to like the 80s. It felt like I was in the mid to early 80s. It was real interesting and like it's kind of off subject a little bit, but I think on subject. It's like when I hear like Gucci Mane, like
Yeah.
if you listen to his flow and you take out the Southern draw, it reminds me of like an 80s flow type of rap, like
Right.
slick.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, when I was listening to your music, I was like, wow, man, I felt like I was back in time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yo,
Yeah,
it's crazy because I'm glad you said that. I want to point something out in the discussion of hip hop and
yeah,
music. Music is my first love. That's
hmm
my absolute first love, man. Um, and being a hustler was second. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Hustling and grinding is second to
right,
music. But music, it takes hustle and grind to really, break into the game.
yeah,
Anyway, I have a gift where I can actually write. I can still write music from the time period of the 80s, man.
mm,
That's how gifted I am with music. I can write music, and it's not because I can't write any other type of music or I can't
right,
advance the flow or advance the style and none of that. But my craft is so embedded in the 80s foundation. You know what I'm saying? The Eric B. and Rakim's, the Cool G raps, the KRS ones. You know what I mean? So that's
bridge is
been my
over, bridge
foundation.
is
You know what I mean? The
over.
Big Daddy Kanes, all that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
The Chill Rob G's. I could go on and on, but so being I have a gift where I can write. I can actually write music in that from that era. That's one of my gifts.
yeah, yeah. And that song I was listening to. I listened to the whole album, but let's get it on. That
Let's
was
get
my
it on.
and there was a line in there. You said 10 years of penitentiary uh
Tears.
years. Yeah. And
Yeah,
I was like,
penitentiary tears. Yeah.
damn, that's so deep. And it reminded me of my I got a relative that's doing time right now in the feds, and he was given about 10 years and he'll be home soon. But like it was crazy, like listening to that, and it made me think of him. It was kind of crazy. It was like a crazy full circle moment. Like wow, 10 years penitentiary tears, like wow, like
Yeah,
it was
yeah. Yo,
you made
man.
it sound cool, but it was like a lot of pain in that, you know. And I'm
Yo,
like,
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah, yeah. Nah,
super
I
vulnerable.
was basically painting a picture of, you
Yeah,
know what I mean? This is what we've been through, this is what we go through.
right.
You know what I mean? And what's interesting about that album is that I actually wrote that album in it came out in 2014. So I actually wrote that album in 2005 because it didn't come out until 9 years until I wrote it.
Yeah,
So Ben Horowitz and Felicia Horowitz are in the liner notes of that album because we press up CDs and all that. um, they're in the liner notes, and I'm thanking them for their contribution to assisting me in being able to release that debut album of mine.
Right.
Because they, it was on a Kickstarter, and they was my largest pledges to my Kickstarter, to produce that album and get it out to the world. You know what I mean? And I haven't dropped the album since. So we talking, what, 10 years?
Shit, I'll have to look at the discography when it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, like I'm saying 10 years because that was 2014 that dropped when I first met Ben.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
10 years later, we in 2024. Really did, I really haven't been heavily in music. I've been really in tech and entrepreneurship, just trying to build my fintech startup and all that. But
Right.
but it's crazy because I'm about to get back into music. It's time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's time. I've been talking to a few people. I actually linked back up with one of the brothers who produced the song I wrote for Ben, venture capitalists like Ben Horowitz.
I heard that. Yeah, I've heard it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I linked back up with the producer who did that. Um, so I'm really excited about getting back in the lab and sharing, all these insights and learnings and experience that I've been through over the
Yeah.
last 10 years, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So I gotta ask you just for out of my curiosity, which side was you on when the bridges overdrop? Were you on KRS one
Yo,
side?
man. Yo, that's crazy you even asked that because like the bridge is over was just so hard. The bridge was over was just so hard, man. Like you ask anybody, man, KRS-One shut shit down, man. All my
Yeah.
language, man. But KRS shut it down with the bridge is over, man. He was such a powerful force in hip hop at the time. He still is. But like in that era, man, it's like you had to be there. There's like no even explaining it or none of that. You had to be there. The bridge is over. The bridge is over. You know what I mean? Come on, man. Yo, that joint's crazy. But then, you know, um, Shan joint was ill too, though. You know what I'm saying? Shan had a joint. It was ill, but that really was. I think that was geared towards Marley. You know what I mean? Because we talk about Marley Marl, and because they had the show and Mr. Magic and all that, and KRS was going off. But yo, the bridge was ill too, though, because even Marley Marl in Control Volume One, like everything that was on there, my man Tragic Gaddafi was on there. Uh, the Intelligent Hoodlum, you know what I'm saying? Like that. So it was like a hard one, but really, KRS was like for me, that was like KRS's joint was like Nas's E for the J. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how I felt at that time, man.
I was gonna ask you how would you rank it with all the top, what would be like your top five diss tracks? Like all
Oh
time.
man. Oh man. The bridge is over, definitely, man.
Yeah.
Um, Nas's Ether, man. That joint just like, yo,
Yeah.
that Ether joint is just a whole nother level, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
thought I've always been a Jay fan, but I felt like Nas won that.
I
For like,
mean,
but
I really never.
it
Okay,
depends who you talk to, because
yeah, yeah,
you
no,
talk
definitely.
about selling records, right? But then like I don't know, it's like I'll like
No, I've grown to appreciate Jay-Z's skill. I always thought he had skills, but I've grown to appreciate it personally more than
yeah.
I did initially because I really never liked his voice. I never liked his voice. It was too high
Mhm.
pitched and
Mm,
too soft for me. Now he's got a soft voice too, but the way he flip it is different
yeah,
from how Jay flip it.
right.
And I was like, what Jay was talking about was just streets, all the street stuff. I could relate to what he was saying, but it didn't pull on me because I didn't like his voice. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It was too high pitched and squeaky for me.
right, right.
Nas voice, even though it's so spoken, it's much more cooler.
Yeah,
I'm saying it sound better. It,
yeah,
it, sound, it sound more official to me. But I mean, go back to you're looking at an MC, talking about MCs, right? I'm an MC. I'm a bona fide MC all day, every day. I'm
right.
lyrical with everything I do. I got a soft spoken voice, but I also got a a strong baritone to it too as well. So it's a balance. So I always got compared to Nas and Rakim, always with the sound of my voice.
I can see that. Yeah,
Um, and
I can see.
anyway, with that being said,
So yeah, so you got no vast. I mean, yeah, I gave
yeah,
you one.
you about to say Cube's joint. I'm about that's
Yeah,
what I'm about to go. I wasn't finished. I
yeah.
got the bridges over. Well, and it's no in no order, just in
No,
general, no order. Because if I gotta go in order, man, Ether's my top joint. You know what I'm
okay,
saying? Ether
okay,
just Ether's just so crazy.
yeah,
Yeah, but we're going from a time we'll go timeline, I guess, to a degree. But the bridges over was sick. Ether, of course. Oh man. Um, no Vaseline from Cube. You spit it out. No Vaseline from
I
Cube
didn't
was
even
just
say that. Yeah,
crazy. It's
yeah,
just crazy. But the joint they did the Cube before that was Always Into Something. That was when they dropped the Niggas album.
mm.
The second NWA album without Cube.
Oh,
Yeah, they
okay,
had the joint on there, Always Into Something. And he said, 1, 2, 3. Then I heard a trigger, and it was Ran on something. Ran was on the trigger or something, and I was saying I was speaking to that bitch O'Shea or something like that. As
yeah,
we roll on, he got the patrol on. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that niggas joint. I was in the NWA hard, so I like Cube though. I like Cube though. You know what I'm saying? Cube was my
yeah.
guy, man, because I knew he was the one that was writing all the lyrics. And he's
Right,
the one he had the hardest verses and the illest voice. And his whole delivery was crazy. Ren was sick too, but it was like a whole chemistry with NWA. But yeah,
right.
so NWA's joint this to him, and he comes back, no Vaseline. Yo, he just shut it down with that one. God damn, I'm glad y'all set it off. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And he killed him. He killed him with the screaming, yelling Compton, but you moved to Riverside. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah,
he got real loose with this shit. Who else, man? There's so many other ones, man. There's so many classic, man, battle joints. I never really was into the Cannabis LL battle, really. That really didn't really intrigue me too much.
yeah,
I kind of moved beyond battling, you know what I'm saying? The battle rap beyond that. Like,
yeah,
but yeah, so that's some of them, you know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, the cannabis one was a surprise though. I don't think nobody really expect that one to come back hard.
Yeah. Oh, you know what, real quick, go back real quick. Cool C had one called the Juice Crew Diss. Wait, that was kind of cool because I was in the Cool C back then. He from Philly. So Cool C had the Juice Crew Diss. So you got KRS going to Juice Crew, you got Cool C in Philly going to the Juice Crew. You know what I mean? Because Cool C kind of sound like Shan a
Mm,
little. You listen to Cool C, he sound like Shan a little. So they was all in the same. They was on Pop Art, the label called Pop Art. I can't
okay.
remember all the details of the label and all that,
Yeah,
but
you put me on to something. Like I've heard so I see Coogee rap. I remember I've heard of Roxanne. You mentioned MC Shan,
yeah,
but
but
I
you
didn't
got
know
Cool
about
C. Cool C,
QC.
this Roxanne Shante. He did the Juice Crew. He did everybody, man. It's called the Juice Crew Diss, I believe.
Oh wow. Yeah, you put me on.
So that one was I like that. I like the delivery with that. Like again, I listen to Marley. I listen to Queensbridge, if you would. Marley was never really screaming Queensbridge, if per se. Well, he was from Queensbridge, right? So I listened to Marley heavily. Marley Marl in Control Volume 1 was my joint. Had mad individuals on there that I loved. And then you got Cool C, and so I KRS One. I love them all. It's just all about like how do you rate each disc? How skating was it? How official was it? How you know what I mean? How was the lyrics? How was the beat? You know what
Yeah,
I mean? You
yeah,
gotta weigh it in.
yeah. For me, I would say like the worst, and when I say the worst, like the most hard hitting disc ever, it gotta be Tupac and Biggie, shoot 'em up or hit 'em
Oh
up.
man, I forgot. I
Yeah,
totally blanked out, man.
that
Yo,
one. Yeah,
hit him up is crazy.
yeah,
Hit him up. Grab
yeah,
your Glocks when you see Tupac. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I like that joint. Hit him up joint was
And
nuts.
Tupac did an interview with Angie Martinez, so it's like I think of, and she's never released it. She may still have it, but she was like he was saying some wild stuff on there. So I'm like, that interview was probably worse than the actual hit him up.
Yeah, hit him up was an ill joint. I liked hit him up. It was cool.
Yeah,
Pac always had that defiant, um, the defiant, aggressive, and competitive energy.
Mm-hmm.
So when he rapped regularly, he had that energy. It was like him against the world. I
Right.
think he had the song "Me Against the World."
Yeah.
But Pac to me, and it was the best when he first came out. Brenda Had a Baby. It was
Mm.
crazy because I was the first one with the Tupacalypse Now tape. I came home from training school from the juvenile facility. I brought the tape home and put everybody on the Tupac.
So
And I love
this is before he went to death row.
way before he went to Death Row. This was when
Okay.
he his
Yeah.
first album.
Yeah.
When he first song was with the Underground that he's known for.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Digital Underground and all that. When he showcased his skills, but when he dropped Tupacalypse Now, Brenda Got a Baby. You know what I mean? Like he was one of the early dudes that was using. He would like change his voice and be two people on one song. You know what I'm saying? He got one song where he was, oh man, that Tupacalypse Now, that was like the blueprint right there. So I love Pac when he was doing that music, like the positive upliftment, you know, black power, if you would, because you know his mother was a Black Panther and all that. So
Right.
he had the
And
energy. When he started doing all that thug stuff, I'm like, I just didn't see him as that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't believe that. Like, if you would, he was
yeah.
a great actor, man. Pac. Um, and I think he channeled some of that in his persona that he presented to the world through his music and in
Mm,
person as well.
mm,
Um, but yeah, the Tupacalypse Now, Tupac is who I really, really love. I was one of the first dudes around my way that was on that.
yeah. And
Nobody really knew who he was because that was West
yeah.
Coast. I was on the East Coast.
Right. And it's interesting you say that about Pop too, because Michael J. White did a interview with Vlad and he was like, yeah, Tupac was a great actor. Like he said he saw a different side of him when the cameras
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
you know.
The cameras was off and it was yeah.
Yeah.
He just he had ability to channel that energy and be what he needed to be in the moment.
Right.
I mean, you know, and then also it was crazy because I was early on. I was put on the Two Show early on as well, so
Oh,
I knew a lot about West Coast rappers because
yeah.
I would go to the record store and to look at the records and the tapes and see what was new. That's how I got put on to, you know, Too Short actually. Like,
Mm,
I was from the East Coast, but I
yeah.
was in Rhode Island. I was born in Rhode Island, so I was in New York, so I was exposed to that, which gave me a great you know, a stronger view on music in general, right? I love
Yeah.
music, man. I love
Yeah.
all types of music.
Yeah.
You know, jazz, hip hop, rap. You know what I mean? R&B, all of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you
So
know,
so back then people won't so like you know, you're from the East Coast. So people weren't really playing West Coast music like that up until
nah.
when the West Coast really kind of started taking over like that. Was it basically
Oh
with
man, when I mean when NWA hit, it kind of
NWA?
get
Yeah,
it. So yeah,
NWA.
when '87, when NWA, it was really well. I mean, Ice T was too. Don't forget Ice T though. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, yep,
Remember Ice T was beefing with go back to the beef, Kumo D and LL. So Ice T was like one of the big ones, and then you had him, of course, when Hammer dropped and all that.
right.
So it was being played, but you know, not as much. And like I said, I discovered Too Short on my own. I
Mm,
discovered Tupac because one of the counselor in the training school I was at exposed me to him, told me about him. He's like, yo, this dude is sick. Like, listen to him. Because we could have, you know, I was in a juvenile facility, so I could listen and, you know, I had a Walkman and all that. So I listened, like, yo, this joint is ill. Got it when I got out. And I put my hometown on the Tupac. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah,
yeah,
for real, cause I was always digging to me. I was like one of the dudes that love music. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Everybody knew.
great
When I
too.
was one of the illest MCs, I eventually rose to being one of the illest MCs from where I was from, if not the illest. You know what I
Mm,
mean?
hmm.
Like to date. You know what I'm saying? To date.
Yeah,
So I was that nice with it, but you know,
yeah,
not to take nothing from nobody. I think everybody got a gift in what they do when they do their thing.
right. So I know you probably gonna answer this, but it's probably gonna be biased. But what's your favorite era of hip hop?
Oh man, it has to be the '80s, man. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I mean, come on, bro. I mean, like, think about like, come on. I was just talking to Nas about this. It's crazy. I was just building with Nas, and I was explaining to him how when I went to prison in '92. Remember, I went to prison in '92.
Yeah.
I missed all of that. I caught a glimpse of it while in prison watching MTV raps and all that. You know,
Yeah.
watching TV, catching some of the joints like when Wu-Tang dropped and all that. So I was telling Nas, I'm like, yo, the first joint, the first joint I heard of his after the main source joint, um, was halftime on the Zebra Head soundtrack. I think it's called Zebra Head. On the
Mm,
Zebra soundtrack, whatever it was, Zebra.
yeah.
So on that soundtrack, it was halftime. I remember being in Ashton, Kentucky, FCI. It was medium security, one of the first prisons I was designated to in the feds. And I remember listening to that joint there. So I was explaining to Nas, I'm like, yo, I never got affected by Illmatic. It was never in my psyche, right? I was never exposed to it because I was incarcerated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I told Nas, I said, shit, my Illmatic is I am.
Mm,
1999. You know what I'm saying? That's my Illmatic. I don't even think I got, well, I think I do got Illmatic on my phone, but like, I listen to like, it ain't hard to tell. Like certain joints I would watch for videos for, we would catch on, MTV when they used to allow us to have the cable inside prison. So
yeah.
that's how I caught music, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I would say for me it would be uh I don't know, I kind of have like two, like Tupac and Biggie, because that was like the first time I was a kid around that time, so I remember hearing them all the time. Um, and then I don't know which year it actually flipped, but when Atlanta really started running the rap scene, I would say that. And you had like the T-shirt boys, no, the franchise boys, white tee, because in the early
Yeah.
2000s, the big tees. I got a picture with the
Yo,
big tees and stuff.
that's crazy. When you said that, you brought up a memory back to me, which I forgot to mention. I also discovered the Ghetto Boys. That's how I discovered the Ghetto Boys on my own. I didn't hear
Oh,
them on the radio. I would go to the record stores and I would see the tapes and all that. I would grab it. So the Ghetto Boys, like I know the Ghetto Boys so well. Scarface was my man. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I knew his name was Brad Jordan. I knew he was once called DJ Action.
Oh,
Like
wow.
I knew that. Like I knew it. So when I met him through Ben and Felicia, when I met him, um, I actually told Felicia's nephew, I was like, yo, he goes by Brad Jordan, right? So it was funny. So we out there on the golf course, you know what I'm saying? At the Wing golf course. And then Scarface is like, he's nice at golf. So he's coming back after they hit the ball or whatever, and he would introduce himself to me and Felicia's nephew. And he said, "Oh, you call me Brad, call me Brad." So what I had just told her nephew, Scarface walks over and confirms exactly what I had just said.
Yeah.
Brad, because he go by Brad Jordan. But
Yeah.
back in his music, back in the day, he called himself DJ Action. He was known as DJ Action, Scarface, of course, and Brad Jordan. That's why I always knew what his real name was from listening to his music all my life. But that was a heavy
Oh,
influence on me too. Like
yeah.
that's how, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause I was gonna say this is before the internet came out, but I didn't know that he
No,
was a
yeah,
D.
way before the internet. Yeah, the internet didn't exist. I mean, it existed, but it wasn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't as ubiquitous as it is today, right?
Right.
Um, but think about it. Like, I discovered the Ghetto Boys by going to the record store.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how I discovered them. And I mean, before they were the Ghetto Boys that we know of, the Ghetto Boys. They were in the white T-shirts. That's why it brought back the memory. Because they was in the white T-shirts and they had this albino looking cat with them. He was like light skin, red, like pinkish, whitish cat, with like blonde hair and stuff. Um, he was part of the crew. He's part of the Ghetto Boys. I think
Mm.
it actually was before Willie D. I think Willie D came after actually.
Oh,
Like, I go back. That's what I'm saying. I go back to like, but it
yeah.
takes thoughts. It takes conversation for it to draw it out of me.
Right.
But yo,
Right.
man, yo, hip hop. Trust me, I am and was forever and will forever be a hip hop head. Like I
Yeah.
know hip hop, man.
Yeah. It's ironic because I'm actually here. I live in Houston, and then you like, oh, the Ghetto Boys. Like, that's crazy.
Right. Oh, I didn't realize you was down in Houston. All right, so you already know what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's how you think I knew about the Fifth Ward and all that. I knew that from the Ghetto Boys long before like
Mm.
mainstream knew what the ward was, the Fifth Ward and all that.
Yeah.
Like I've been on that slang and that them terminology and all that, all those
Yeah.
facts or whatever.
Right.
I was listening to the Ghetto Boys from the early stages.
Yeah. Yeah. So you say you getting back into music. So
Yeah,
what
man.
what's driving it? What is it? You know, you're like, hey, I want to drop
Well,
another
a
album.
couple things driving that. I'm glad you asked that. That's great, man. Yo, I'm loving this conversation too. I think this is really ill because there's so much for us to unpack, man.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so I love music first and foremost. It's always my first love. I got away from it because I love it so much. If I was to focus on music, I wouldn't focus on it to build a career. So I would still need a way to survive and make money through a profession or what have you.
Right.
Um, because I think the career in music for me is not what I once wanted it to be, or
Mhm.
what I thought I had the opportunity to make it. I never got the platform I really needed to showcase my talent. So, I use my talents here and there. Um, and because it's my first love, because remember, when I was doing music, I always did hip hop because I loved it, not to make money. So it was never to me, I looked at it as a profession to
Right.
make money, to survive over, right? Because I
Yeah.
sold drugs to do that. I sold drugs, made money. I did hip hop because I loved it. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
was my life.
Yeah.
I was a real drug dealer dude in the streets that just loved the rap,
Yeah.
loved hip hop. That's what it was. So when I got into Silicon Valley and all that, that's what connected really me and Ben. What solidified our connection was a song I wrote for him, venture capitalists like Ben Horowitz, which is actually 10 years old. Because Ben's book, The Hard Thing About Hard Things, just turned 10 years old
Oh
this
wow.
week. So my song is 10 years old because as soon as that book dropped, I wrote the song and I actually cameo the book in the video of venture capitalists like Ben Horowitz. They think
Wow.
if you look at the video, the full plot's like you think I'm selling drugs. Then when I get busted, the DA comes in and busts me. They open up the packages and it's Ben's book I'm selling. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was a brick. That was, you know what I mean? That was
Man,
a
I
brick,
love it.
man.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Souls above us, hate them or love them, I'ma get rich or die trying. Guess it means I'ma forever spit and die rhyming. Venture capitalist like Ben Horowitz. Tennis rap that I spit with gems glorious. Hey, spit more of it to the point of my story is I came from crack to rap to corner offices. I tried grinding, I won't lie, I even fired iron and sold crack since Bozak making dollars shining. Always had charisma, creativity, and vision. But if you lack coverage, they don't even wanna listen. No fear's the essential, you wanna blow potential. So for years I sat in cells and fortified my mental. Relentless focus like a boxer when he folds opponents. But you gotta take them steady blows and overdoses, especially when the strategy's the rope a dope it. Hard to hit the moving targets when you losing markets. Game face on, all the rage and my pain strong. I came to get my reign on name on anything I gaze on. It's mine for the taking, my grind was crime related. Gave me time to build my mind, so in due time I made it. With fly women that's gorgeous, we count my metamorphosis. From crack to rap to corner offices. I'm on my venture capitalist like Ben Horowitz. Tennis rap that I spit with gems glorious.
anyway, to go back, um, so we're really driving it through hip hop again is because I have two granddaughters, Capri and Isis. Peace and love to them too. Matter of fact,
Yeah.
I have two granddaughters, and I want to create music that they could one day reflect on my thoughts and say, "Yo, Pop did this. You know what I mean? Pop did this, and okay, he was nice with it or whatever. You know what I mean? Or they learning jewels. But I want to make music that they could listen to, not only just my legacy when I'm gone, but just music they could just listen to and grow off of it and learn from. Because if you listen to my album, which you did listen to it, if you notice, I have a lot of messages,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of messages through all my music. I keep it hip hop, I keep it street, I keep it ghetto, if you would,
You got a
but
love song in there too.
I also keep it enlightening. Yeah. I got the love joint in there. I also keep it enlightening. You know what I'm saying? And insightful. So anyway, so my granddaughters was the first spark that kind of had me thinking about it. Like, I want to get back to music. And then lately, just things been happening. Certain circumstances in my life have been happening that's bring me back to the studio. So when I say I'm getting back to music, I never really went away from it. I just really stopped exercising my talent,
Yeah.
right, at a consistent level. But now I'm about to get back in the lab. And you know who's inspired me also, the brothers up top in Buffalo, man. The brothers from Buffalo, Griselda and them. You know what I mean?
I was just listening to
Benny the Butcher.
Benny the Butcher. Yeah,
Yeah, he definitely inspired. My son put me on to him actually. My
yeah.
son put me on to Benny, and when I heard what Benny was doing, I'm like, yo, this is that 80s. This is that 80s sound. He's talking about the 80s shit that I came out of. So I gravitated towards it. And he's been like inspiring me to pick my pen back up. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I just actually met I was out in Vegas for the Super Bowl, and I met West Side Gun. I was with Nas. We went to one of Nas's shows. I was with Nas. He did a quick performance and met West Side while I was out there during the Super Bowl weekend. But yeah, so those are the really the things that's like been inspiring me to get back. And I've been like listening to the beats and listening to the music. I'm like, yo, I want to get back. There's so much I gotta say. There's so much I can say, and I'm gifted. I want to I want to make another. So I'm gonna make some records, man. So
yeah. Speaking of Benny the Butcher, I've been listening to his album. He got a song called Big Time, and I love it. It's always interesting to me when I hear.
You see how he flipped the 90? He flipped the 90s sound.
Yeah,
for that, the Big Timers joint, the Big Timer. He flipped like the 90s sound of flow on that.
Yeah,
so you can go way back. You can dig into the crates.
It's always funny to me when I'm like when I hear somebody from up north using like South language. It's so funny to me. I remember when yeah, it's so funny.
Yo, but you remember when Nas did that? When Nas did it, I mean, he bodied it. He did a great job when he did it. I forgot what song it was, but he flipped it down south, you know, the down south style on one of his joints.
Yeah, I'm still listening.
Yeah, I mean, of course we know Jay did it right with Big Pimpin'.
Right.
Yeah, but Benny's joint Big Timers is cool.
Yeah, and the song he got with Jadakiss snapped on that one.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. That's Pillows.
Pillow Talk
and something.
Yeah, it's Pillow Talk. Yeah,
and Slander, Pillow Talk and Slander, I believe.
Something like that. Yeah, it's like Jadakiss don't even be trying. It's like,
it's naturally a Gemini, man. You know, it's natural.
Oh,
the Gemini, son. Like this, that's Tupac, Biggie, Ice Cube.
You a Gemini too?
I'm a Gemini too. You already know. That's that natural energy, man.
Yeah.
Communication.
Right.
Power of communication.
Yeah. So this new album that you gonna work on, is it gonna be like a kid's album or something?
Nah, not at all. Not at all. Nah, it's gonna be it's gonna be grown for grown people. But I'm saying it's gonna be where my granddaughters can listen to it. I mean, if you listen to my music, I don't curse that much anyway.
Right.
If at all. Yeah. Like I don't gotta curse to speak or to rhyme. And I've never been into that. Like I don't gotta do none of that. And I don't gotta make vulgar music and none of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've always been somebody I got knowledge of self in 92. You know, God body, you know what I'm saying, building. So you already know, like I always wanted to lace my music with messages. I told you that earlier when I started honing my skills. I got knowledge of self, came in that high level of spirituality. I'm like, I could use my music and my voice to uplift and enlighten. And that was my goal. Yeah. So I was always, that's my talent, writing without even cursing. So I'm not necessarily, because I'm saying my grandchildren, my granddaughters, I have to make music for babies, but it's going to be music that a baby could listen to.
Right. Yeah.
Babies is listening to all types of music right now, talking crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they can listen to my music and talk right and exact. You know what I mean? Or learn from it. But I want to leave a legacy to where they can listen to my music and get messages from it. They're not going to hear, they're going to see the other side of it. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. They're going to see the other side to what's out there.
Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily saying I'm making an album. I will say I'm starting to make records. I'm starting to get back in the studio. I'm starting to write. I'm starting to select beats. You know what I mean? So the brother who made venture capitalists like Ben Horowitz, the producer of that, was actually the producer of Magic Stick by 50 Cent and Lil' Kim.
Oh wow, okay.
Same producer, Phantom of the Beat. So I just reconnected with Phantom of the Beat. So definitely gonna have some heat from him. I got some Rakim's people. I'm gonna rock with on some beats. from
Yeah.
Long Island, Wine Dance. I got my other dudes out of Brooklyn. Hell's Yeah, crazy with the beats,
Yeah.
and a few other sources. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm selecting beats right now.
I'm just kind of thinking off the top. I would love for you to do like a song with like J. Cole or like Kendrick. 'Cause I feel like they rap with a lot of substance
Oh,
and
absolutely, they do.
they match your energy in regards to like rapping about not just materialistic stuff.
Crazy. I think Kendrick's a Gemini too. Matter of fact,
I think so.
I think he's a Gemini too.
Oh,
Kanye is one. I meant to say Kanye too.
Kanye.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Hold on. I'm about to confirm that. Oh snap.
I think you're word. I think Kendrick's a Gemini, man. I know Kanye is. I think so it's May 21 to June 21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I just did a search. Yeah, it says that.
Kendrick,
Yeah.
it just popped in. I just knew I seen that somewhere. I know
Yeah.
Lauren Hill's a Gemini as well, so
Yeah. That's funny.
yeah, that's crazy funny, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
um so yeah, so now I'm not necessarily making a children's album. I'm making an album that children can listen to. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying and learn from. And when my granddaughters get an age, they realize who I am and I'm gone. You know, they can put that on, be like, yo, this is Pop right here getting busy. So
Right.
that's like, you know what I'm saying? And you gotta understand, like I'm so nasty and nice with my skills. I mean, you heard me on Ghetto Ramen. I mean, ain't much I gotta prove to say if I got skills or not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't think there's much for me to prove the fact that I got skills. I think it's
Yeah.
obvious. It's
Yeah.
known, right? It's out there. But I just think I love music so much, and the reason I told you why I'm getting back into it, I also want to do music because I love it. I love to do music. So I'm gonna
Mhm.
start playing with some records. I'm already got a few titles. You know, once in a while I'll be writing lyrics anyway, just kind of testing things. But like I
Yeah.
really gotta sharpen my sword back up. Because it's
Yeah.
been a minute, you know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah.
getting back to it, man.
So I want to touch on a previous conversation we had. I just thought about it. I'm like,
Yeah.
Wanksta is one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite battle songs too. Wanksta. I remember when that dropped.
Oh,
I'm like,
Wankster was cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
Wanksta. How to
that's a
Rob.
battle song. That's a diss song. Yeah, it's a diss
Yeah,
song.
How to Rob
No,
wasn't really a diss song, but
it
that's when
doesn't have,
I found that when I had Napster and I used to download a bunch of
I
music.
remember Napster. Yeah, I remember Napster early
Yeah,
days,
I started my
MySpace and all that.
I started my first bank account off Napster money. Like,
That's crazy.
yeah. Gosh, what was I about to say? Oh, so yeah, so it's funny you talk about making a new album because one of my ideas for Trap Talks is actually make an album as well, but more or less like bring artists that I like that are on the come up and actually put them all on one track.
You know I'm gonna get on there, man. Come on, man. You know, I'm a bless. I gotta bless
Yeah.
the mic for that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I love that. I love to contribute to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Just because it's like with the brand of Trap Talks, it's like it's all in the slogan, right? Tech and music. You know what I'm saying? And culture. So it's like one idea, but yeah, it's funny you talk about making a new album or
Well,
whatever.
so is that the concept? The T stands for tech and then rap.
Not necessarily, but
Okay. I just thought
I
about
mean
that.
you
Click.
but you can I'm
I
seeing
just
it
clicked.
now.
You
I'm
see
like,
how they just clicked for me? I
yeah,
saw as soon as you said tech and music,
yeah,
oh trap. Okay.
yeah.
I mean,
But
because you know when you say trap,
yeah,
when you use the
yeah,
word trap,
yeah,
it has negative connotation. We know that.
yeah,
It means drugs. It means drug selling. It
yeah,
means, drug distribution points. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
So, you know what I mean? So when you said tech and music, I'm like, oh, trap. Maybe
yeah.
that's what it was.
You know,
But
I,
that's
and,
cool.
and I and
Nah,
I and I actually trap a lot, so
yeah. I mean, the trap now, shit, I trap too.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? The hustle
yeah,
don't stop, man. It's just a
yeah.
different product, right? I'm trapping. It's just a different product.
It's a different product, yeah.
It's a different product we hustling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's all in like flipping the language, right? Like I feel like trap and a lot of what happened in the crack era, hurt our community, is right. So
Absolutely, it
the
did.
goal is to flip it, right? Like those, it's crazy because those same principles, and like for me, I remember even still now, like sometimes I watch like mob movies about like the Gambinos or whatever,
Yeah.
and you can actually pull a lot of like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that crime is good, but the way that you look at like Carlos Gambino ran his family, like he's
Yeah,
running a family like a CEO of like Apple or something, you know, and it's
I
kind
mean,
of crazy.
listen, there's always a direct correlation between, you know, how crime is done and hustling is done with how business is done. I mean, it's just a different arena.
Yeah,
You got to think about all the skills that were transferable into formal entrepreneurship and startup building
right.
that I actually got from the streets, that the streets taught me.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I was doing distribution. I was doing, you know, marketing. You know what I mean? My product and
right,
all that. I was
right.
doing product development. You know, I was doing sourcing. All things you do in business, I was doing it in the streets hustling. Like I
Yeah.
really read it like that. Listen, man, when they knocked me off, I was on the front of the newspaper. And when they knocked me off, I lived in the project at the time. And they said that my home looked like something at a better homes and gardens. I'm sorry, my crib looked like something at a better homes and gardens. And I lived in the projects. That, that's what I'm saying to you.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? They said I ran a high-tech operation. I was the leader of this, that, and the third, whatever. Because I
yeah.
use walkie-talkies. I use you know, bug detecting devices. So if you had a
Mm.
listening device on trying to set me up, I had a detector that could detect and it would vibrate and let me know you had something on you. So I sent it right up to you on me, man. It was crazy.
All right, so hold up. You had something that told you whether somebody had a wire on
Yes. Yes.
them?
I've been on tech. That's what I'm trying to tell you, man. So listen, yeah, not only that, I'll get back to that 1 second, but check this
That's
out.
crazy.
But this how I've always been in the tech. I've always been like in electronics and tech all my life. So
Yeah.
me being in tech is like no mystery. It's ill how I got there, but me ending up there is like it was meant to be because I was the first dude in the projects that knew what an Apple iMac was.
Hmm.
You know why? I've been on Apple products. I've been on man, bro. I've been on Apple products since I was about 13, 14.
Uh-huh.
So if you think back then, that was
Yeah,
like,
that was before Steve Jobs got kicked out.
yeah,
Yeah.
the first iMac and all that, or after, whatever it was. But it was during the 80s. You know what I'm saying?
That was
Early
before.
mid 80s.
That was before, yeah.
But here's what's so crazy about it, though. Here's what's so crazy about it. I was exposed to Apple products because I did music. That's when they started using MIDI,
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
musical instrument digital interface, right? So they were using the Mac and the computer inside the studios to record. That's how I was exposed to Apple products and the
Mm.
Macs, way before the iPhone.
Yeah.
So
It's
I've
like
always been with tech, and I
probably
did have
17 years before the iPhone.
yeah. So I was yeah, because I had to be like 13. So it was definitely 83, 84, 85, around 86, around the era. But I
Yeah.
was going in the studio. That's what I was trying to tell you. I've been doing music since I was young. I would go in the studio to watch other artists and work
Yeah.
with other artists that was like older than me. And I always ran with an older crowd because I always I had, you know, I was always mature for my age. So I always
Yeah.
ran with older cats. You know what I mean? I mean, think about it. When I got knocked, my co-defendant was like, I was 19 and he was like 35.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I was the leader. And they, you know what I'm saying? I was the one running it, running
Hmm.
the operation. So yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. You gotta tell me about the the
Oh, the
detective.
little device, yeah. You know where I got that from? I got that. Matter of fact, my dude put me onto this. My man, rest in peace, my man Galo. He put me onto it. He used to bring me the Soldier of Fortune magazines. That's where I got it from. So in the Soldier of Fortune magazines in the back, they sold all types of different things. And that device was in there. He put me
Hmm.
on there. I was like, yo, you should get this device right here. Like, what's it do? It's like it detects if someone has a wire on a listening device. I said, what? It was like 700 for it. Bought it. And I was wearing that, you know what I mean? All the time. So if someone tried to set me up, it would vibrate.
So did you ever catch someone?
Nah, you know what's crazy about this? And this is why it's how the Most High works. The dude that I got arrested, the dude that that set me up. He was a detective. And before I went onto the boat to meet him. I was down like by the marina in Newport, Rhode Island. And I went to go meet him. And something said, I don't know, something said, turn it off. I don't know why I did. But I turned it off. And I had it with me. And he had a wire on. Yeah, that was my downfall. But hold on. It's crazier. This is why I know I was meant to be incarcerated and become who I am today. Because that detective ended up getting the same amount of time that he put me away for. He ended up getting 7 years in prison.
Wow.
He got charged for killing his girlfriend.
Oh man.
Hold on. He didn't even do it. He would have been in prison to this day, but someone came forth and confessed to the crime. He got released. He sued the state or the city that convicted him.
Yeah.
He got all this money. But he did the same amount of time that I did. 7 years he put me away for, he did 7 years too.
Wow.
Crazy, yo, I'm telling you, man, my life like a movie, man. It's wild the way certain elements and things. That, remember, we're only talking about we've been bouncing back and forth from from crack to rap, the tech piece, right?
Yeah.
So that was sort of from crack piece right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Word up.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
Do you actually regret not turning it on? Or do you think it was fine that you, or do you see what you get where I'm getting at? Do you regret not turning it on?
I do and I don't. I don't because of everything I gained. I would have been exposed to so many things and experiences like that have made me who I am had I not went to prison. I am because the sacrifice that was made was me losing my son. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I mean losing him in the sense of our relationship and being a father in his life that was there to, to raise him.
Yeah.
But he was the reason why I even hustled so I could take care of him and his mother.
Right.
One of the reasons why I really was grinding like I did was like, yo, we got to get this money. First, it was my mom's. Then it was my sister. Then it became my son's mother and my son. Why I did what I did. You know what I mean? I would do it again if there was if I went back in time, but I would do it differently. You know what I'm saying? If you would.
Yeah.
But my think, this is how ahead of my time I was. My thinking was always get out the game. When they knocked me for the deal that I did, I was always retiring. Like I was good. I was going into entrepreneurship, starting a sneaker company, and I was going to school for radio. You know what I'm saying? I was going to New England School of Technology, what they call New England Tech.
Yeah.
I had got what do you call it? The financial aid, all that was set. I was going to school.
Yeah.
I was getting out the game. Right before that happened, though, the most I had another plan for my life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow, that's crazy.
I was arrested, charged, convicted, sentenced, and here I am today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can rap the tech, baby.
It's
like full circle. You know what I'm saying?
Right. What was your plan to do with the radio degree? What is that, like electrician?
When I was in the music.
Oh, okay.
So it was radio and television, broadcasting.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Got
so I
you.
was in video, I learned all that stuff. I was in the music. That was like I told you, I was in the music. So I was like, yo, let me do something I like. I love doing.
Yeah.
I've always been studious. I've always been above average intelligence.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing stupid about me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I might do stupid things or I've done stupid things, but ain't nothing stupid about me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've always been ahead of my time. Like my point was to even go further, the technology I was exposed to and how I told you about the technology to detect
bugs. Yeah.
detect bugs and all that. I also was the first in my town to use a pager to conduct business.
Mm.
I learned that from seeing I went to the dentist one day, and I seen the dentist using the pager and getting calls on it. Like I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I started thinking about how I could use that. to do deals, and that's why I started using the pager.
Yeah.
Before anybody had the pager, I was one of the first ones in my town, pager. Then I was
Yeah.
the first one in my town with the car phone. You know what I
Oh,
mean? I was the first in my town with the first Motorola, the big army looking joint.
oh, you was balling then, because them joints were
Yo,
pretty.
my phone bill was $2,000 a month.
Oh my God.
AT&T, AT&T, $2,000 a month. That was my phone bill off that phone. I had the mobile joint. Then I had the joint that sat in the car with the speaker and I talked to when people call me. Yeah, man. Yeah, I did it all, man.
Yeah.
Doing
Wow.
that since I was small.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Like there's so much shit. Like there's so much shit that I've been exposed to.
Yeah.
When I be in the when I be in the when I be in the in the when I be in the environment of Silicon Valley when I first got into it, I really don't. I just play the back. You know what I'm saying? I just chill. I
Yeah.
don't speak too much. You know what I mean? I just
Yeah.
listen and learn
Yeah.
more than anything. You know what I mean? Even to this day. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's so much I've experienced and so much history I have throughout several eras and people I've met and way before me and Ben. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Things I did in the streets and the people I met in the streets and the level I was at in the streets was such a be not only to be where I'm from, but to be such a young be so young at a young
Mm.
age. I mean, I did all that. So
Yeah.
that's not to glorify. I'm not even glorifying. I'm just saying this is my experiences. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And people
but it
realize how deep it really is.
yeah, but I think it's important for people to hear because there's skills that you learned and gained when you were doing dirt, but you're using those same skills now for what you're doing, right? And you
Yeah,
can warn the younger generation about like not going down that path, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? I go back to like that line again, 10 years of penitentiary pain. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like we are people and we're not supposed to be locked up in a hole, in a like this room is bigger probably than the cell that my cousin's in, right? Like, so
yeah. I know. Yeah,
it's definitely important for like people to hear that and see how you're flipping your skills. Like that's what it's about, man.
yeah. So something like with penitentiary tears, with cats with tats that represent their criminal careers, with cats with tats that represent their criminal careers. Yeah, man. That's an ill line. I'm glad you picked up on that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to replay that. I played that song like a couple times. I was like, yo, I favorite it. That's my song right there. I like it. I like
Big
it.
brother. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
get it on. Let's get it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us about how you came up with Divine, right? And I think this also ties into how you was actually able to keep your humanity while you were in there,
Yeah,
right?
no,
So
absolutely
yeah,
with spirituality. Yeah. So Divine just so when I went to prison, I had been incarcerated in the training school for boys in Rhode Island, and I was exposed to the autobiography of Malcolm X.
okay, yeah,
And I read that, and then that was impactful and enlightening. But I also read this article in Rolling Stone about hip hop and Islam,
mm,
specifically the 5% Nation of Islam,
yeah,
or the
yeah,
5%ers, or the Nation of Gods and Earths, as it's now known. It was an article there that I read as well. Talked about artists Eric B. and Rakim, King Sun, Poor Righteous Teachers, all artists I listen to. Same
mm-hmm.
Tribe Called Quest, Diggable Planets, people influenced by Islam, how Islam had a strong influence on the hip hop. So after reading that article in Rolling Stone and reading autobiography of Malcolm X, I became such a model inmate in the juvenile facility that they would allow me to leave to go down to the library. I would ask them, "Can I go down to the library?" They would allow me to leave, go down to the library, escorted down to the library, and I got this next book I got was Eric, I think it's Eric C. Lincoln or C. Eric Lincoln. And it was called oh man, it was called something Muslims. Something Muslims with Eric C. Lincoln, I believe it was. But it
Yeah,
was Eric C. Lincoln, it was called, or C. Eric Lincoln, or whatever it was, but it was like some about Muslims. And it kind of broke down the Nation of Islam, Elijah Muhammad, Master Fard Muhammad, the whole history of the Nation of Islam. So I built on that. And then I had one of my brothers who I grew up with in my city. He was incarcerated in an adult institution not too far from where I was at, and he came across brothers who had knowledge of self, or basically members of the 5% Nation of Islam or Nation of Gods and Earths, and he got exposed to the teachings, right, of the brother they call the Father of Law, or Clarence 13X Smith, who came from the Nation of Islam, and he was taught by Malcolm X. Anyway, he got lessons or whatever, and he would write me and tell me about it. But I was already doing the knowledge, if you would, about what I was being exposed to. So when he hit me, it was like perfect timing. It all came together. So when I came home from the training school, I was only out 6 months, and I was now in the adult joint where he was at. He was in Max. I was in like where they hold you till you get sentenced.
Right.
It's called the intake center. So he had wrote me a letter and told me that I was gonna meet this brother named Understanding, because he's coming through there. They had shipped him out. I was coming back. I should run into him, and lo and behold, I ran into him one day. I'm out in the unit, out of my cell, and his brother's talking. He's in the shower and he's talking. He's like, "Yeah, this brother's sincere," and that was my brother's attribute. His righteous attribute was sincere. So he's like, "Oh yeah, sincere, this and that." Then I heard him say that. I was like, "Yo, sincere's my dude. Who you?" And he said, "I want to understand." And that, like, "Yo, he told me to connect with you and ask you to build with me." And that's what started it all. So this brother's from New York. He's from Brooklyn. He's the youngest in the state of Rhode Island to get charged with the RICO at the time.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he was only 16 years old, tried as an adult. I met him. He had knowledge of self. He was exposed to the teachings of the Nation of Islam and the 5% Nation of Islam and all that. And I asked him to build with me. He started building with me. And that's how I learned the things I learned. Then I had this other brother who was in my town from Amityville, who was down with De La Soul. He knew the dudes from De La Soul.
Yeah.
So he had knowledge. He had been exposed to knowledge himself as well. So he was my cellmate, and he would just build me and teach me things as well. And then when I went to the feds, I would meet other brothers who had knowledge of self. But that's how it all came to Rhode Island, through these brothers, several brothers that came out of Fort Greene projects out of Brooklyn, New York, and brought the lessons with them and exposed it to the Rhode Island Department of Corrections, and it just grew. You know what I'm saying? So that's a foundation of where it all came from. And so out of that, my middle name is Damon, Damon, and I was always called Damon in the streets, or Cool D, they would call me. So out of Damon, once I learned supreme mathematics and supreme alphabets, it turned my name Damon, which was negative, into something positive. You know what I mean? Divine Allah, Master Cipher Now, Damon, if you use the supreme alphabets. So that's speaking to me, Divine Allah, Master Cipher Now. So then I took on the righteous attribute, Divine Allah. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then that's when the metamorphosis happened through that spiritual system. And as I further read the Quran, the Bible, studied all world religions from Judaism to Hinduism, you know what I'm saying, to Zen Buddhism, all that. I started studying everything. And that elevated my consciousness, man. So today, I would tell you divine, even though that's the origin of divine today stands for determined idea, visualization, infinitely never ending. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a manifester.
You're right.
Whatever I put my mind to since I was a youth, I've always brought into fruition. I have a burning desire, determined idea, and I make it a reality. So I've done that throughout my entire life. There's nothing that if I wanted it, I couldn't have it, or I didn't have it or get it. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Wow, that's crazy.
So that's the deeper origin of
Yeah.
why I'm known as divine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
So
I strive to be that. I strive to be a godly person.
yeah. Yeah. So for my curiosity, and you think you're the best person to ask it, but how was the 5% started? Because my understanding, it came out of the fruit of Islam, which is out of the Nation of Islam. But how did the
Yeah.
5%ers get started?
Yeah, they call it offshoot. They call it offshoot of the Nation of Islam,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Um, the brother which I mentioned earlier, Clarence 13X,
Yeah.
full name was Clarence Joe R. Smith. Clarence 13X. He was a student under Malcolm X, Temple Number 7 in Harlem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was he was kicked out, quote unquote, or ousted out of the Nation of Islam. They said for certain habits he had that he didn't stop or refrain from, mainly gambling, I believe. And he went to the streets and he took the lessons with him,
Mm,
right? He took the
yeah.
lessons with him, and he's like, yo, this even if no one conforms, even if nobody conforms to the rules and regulations and how strict the nation was, they still needed to get the knowledge. So he didn't focus on older people. He focused on the youth.
Uh,
That's why the first school, the first 5% school in Manhattan, known as Mecca or Harlem, was Allah's Youth Academy. That's what it was called. And he gave these lessons that he got from the nation, and he would teach the youth, and he would give them righteous attributes.
yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how it. That's the metamorphosis of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Is there friction between the Nation of Islam
I
and the
mean,
5%ers or no?
in the
Or
past, it used to be heavy. Yeah, in the past, it used to be heavy.
yeah.
Absolutely. But I mean, it was one time, I think Farrakhan said, our 5% brothers who are cousins of us. He called the 5% nation cousins.
Mm,
But what's so crazy about it that the term 5% is also in the lessons that the Nation of Islam study. So it's not nothing that they don't know. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
It's just that this offshoot, if you would, under the father of laws, he became known as Clarence 13X Smith, became known as the father of law. Uh, the title of his organization or group, if you would, was the 5%ers or the 5% Nation of Islam.
Yeah.
But that term 5%er or 5% comes from the lessons of the Nation of Islam.
Got it.
So
Okay.
basically Farrakhan and anybody are 5%ers. They just don't use it as a term.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You follow me? You follow me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't take on that name, but that's who they are. They're the
Yeah.
5%ers
It's
as well.
it's
It's,
sound
it's
like
kind of like you got to know the history, man. You got to know you got to know a lot, man. To understand the whole dynamics and the evolution of that. But
yeah.
I know it because I studied it. I know it because I researched it.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, yeah,
Yeah. 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 I've studied like a little bit. Like I know a lot about Malcolm X, and I've heard, but yeah, you definitely more learned than I am around that. Um, so looking at all the religions you study, what's like the common thing you noticed between them all, like Christianity, Judaism, like
yeah,
Hinduism?
yeah. So I was raised Catholic. My mother was actually raised by nuns. My mother was adopted. She was given away as when she was young. Um, she was given away. She was raised in a home amongst nuns, so she was always strict. That's why I always had great morals because she instilled that in me. And we went to Catholic school, read the Bible and all that. So I was exposed to that at an early age. Um, but what I come to learn, the common thread or the common threads between one religion from the next is that one, um, the belief in a higher power or the Most High, a belief in a higher power above you, right?
Yeah.
They all have that. No matter what you call it, no matter what name it is, a higher power. The second is to be right and just, to be righteous.
Right.
That's it. Every so-called religion has those 2 points where they all meet. Belief in a higher power and to be right and just or be righteous. That's it, man. So it's like if I'm traveling to New York from Rhode Island, say I'm coming from Providence, Rhode Island, and I'm traveling to New York. New York's attractive. Everybody wants to get to New York,
Right.
right? Everybody wants to get there. I'm saying, yo, I'm gonna take a car. Somebody say, yo, I'm gonna take the train. Somebody else says, yo, I'm gonna ride a motorcycle. Oh, I'm gonna fly.
Yeah.
Yo, it's all the same destination.
Yeah, I knew
It's
where
just
he was
different ways
going.
you transport there, baby.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's different ways you transport there.
Yeah.
And some things is for others, something, yo, it's like everything is for everybody, but everybody ain't for everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bar right there.
Yeah, that's just what it is, man. And it's not, many shall come, only few shall be chosen. It's those that choose themselves. So whatever you fall under, whatever you decide you wanna, you wanna raise a flag of, you do your thing, you know what I'm saying? But yo, belief in a higher power and be right and just in all
Yeah.
your undertakings, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I love how you just made it so simple. Like it's just like these are what they all
I mean,
have.
it really is simple, but that's
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. Man makes it complex.
Right.
Remember, religion's a man-made. You know what I'm
True.
saying? Like, let's keep it real.
Yeah.
Religion's a man-made.
Yeah.
Men have made religions. You know what I'm saying? And most of the time, religion is used in a negative way, where it's used to control the masses of people. You know what I'm saying? Because the smartest man is stupid. We're the only species that will create something that decimates us. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is crazy, man.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, the greatest secret is that, that man is God and God is man. And, God is within you, man. And to me, God's nothing but supreme power and force, and power force is energy. You know what I mean? So supreme energy, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, I mean, it's wild, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
People will live and die over religion like they will sports. So, you know what I mean? In politics. So those
Yeah.
are the things you really never didn't want to debate with anybody.
Yeah, they say that's the like conversation to avoid when you like meeting
Yeah,
someone.
they'll kill you. They'll kill you. They'll kill you in the name of Jesus, brother.
Yeah.
They'll kill you in the name of Muhammad, brother.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know what I
because
mean? They'll kill you in the name. They'll kill you in the name of San Francisco Giants. So you gotta be careful, man.
right, right. Yeah, so I went the UNC Chapel Hill, right? Where Jordan went. So like anytime I meet someone that's like they're like, yeah, I went to Duke, I just instantly want to turn around and just walk away. It's just like, yo, like
Right,
why am I
right,
talking to him? You know what I'm saying? But
right. But
it's
you see,
like yeah,
yeah, those things. It's crazy, man. It's just crazy
yeah,
when you think about religion, politics, sports, brother.
yeah, yeah. Cool, cool. Yeah, so look, I think it's good for us to talk about like the last piece of the triangle, right? The tech. So
Yeah,
yes, yeah. So tell us about your tech company and like I think you've already touched on like Solvent and like
yeah.
what caused you to sell crack, but like why is Solvent so important and also the problem that you're looking to solve? Like how will it positively impact our society?
Yeah. I mean, I look at my own life and me coming from poverty first and foremost, but then attaining a lot of money and not having financial literacy or entrepreneurship education to be able to really leverage that power that I had. Right. So I ended up doing 10 years in prison. So when I first met Ben in 2014, when I connected with him and came into tech and was inspired to start a fintech company, I really was looking to create something that was an alternative to the rush card because there was nothing else out there. There was no black rush card. Russell was the face of the rush card, but it wasn't a black company.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, he was the face of it, and I just felt it really wasn't it really wasn't empowering our community. So I said, I'm gonna create something that's an alternative to the rush card in the same space, but that really empowers our community. And I've always been intrigued with finances, with the financial industry, with money. I've always been intrigued by that, like how money is made, how it flows, how businessmen get it. And what's even crazy is that Trump was like one of my not idol, not hero, but someone I looked at as a successful businessman and something I wanted to aspire to be.
Yeah.
Because my mother always instilled that in me as a youth. You know, intelligence. You're gonna be a doctor, a lawyer, and a businessman was always like. I looked at Trump. I would see images of him, and look to that very vaguely. I remember that, and I was a very studious reader. I had in my room. I had a desk, like a business desk, and on top of it was a bookshelf, and I had all these books, and I really was an avid reader. And I still, to this day, I call that one of my superpowers. I love
Mm,
to read.
yeah.
Right? You can't learn nothing in life quicker than if it ain't experience reading. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ben has a saying, there's no shortcut to knowledge, especially knowledge learned through experience or gained through experience. You know what I mean? So anyway, um, with that being said, technology, when I started building in technology and in fintech specifically, I said, you know what, my product is not going to be just for a profit, but it's going to be for a purpose. So there has to be a social impact component to it. Well, I don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't, if my company can't give back or empower other individuals to make them better or change their lives or transform them in some way, then I don't want to do it. So that's why I've always kept a strong social impact component in what I was building. So my first company was Black. Black was spelled BLAK.
I
Build,
remember. Yeah. That's
yeah,
when I
build and leverage acquiring knowledge. I got into my first accelerator with Village Capital. I learned formal entrepreneurship and startup building. That was my first exposure to that. I would go on from that, build Black for some years, built a team, raised a little seed capital, a little pre-seed capital. But eventually I would have to fail fast and fail forward, if you would. And you got to think about it. This was 2014, way before there was any Black neobanks in existence. So I was already thinking about what a Black neobank could be.
Yeah. What is
Five
a
years,
neobank? What is a neobank?
5 years prior. So a neobank is a company that's in the financial services space, um, fintech, financial technology space, where they use and leverage the bank charter of a bank to provide and offer banking products and services, which is why it's called a neobank.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
neo means baby, right? Look at the
Right.
word neo. It
Yeah.
means small, tiny, or baby. So basically, small bank, tiny bank, baby bank. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, but I was already thinking what a neobank could be 5 years prior to anyone starting a Black neobank. You know what I mean? So that's again, I show you how ahead of my time
Yeah.
I was.
Like back to the using the beeper, having the car phone,
Exactly.
having
So
the snitch reader.
I would eventually go. I would eventually move to Silicon Valley, enter corporate, or enter nonprofit first, and enter corporate, working at one of Ben's firms, portfolio companies, Udacity. Learn a lot there. I put Black on hold, but then I would move to LA and work at esports organization FaZe Clan with my brother Greg Selko,
Yeah.
who's a co-founder and CEO, co-CEO. Um, I initially worked with him in corporate. That's my first actually job in corporate was when I worked in Boston with him at Karma.
Mm.
He was the founder and CEO of Karma. Anyway, fast forward, I left LA, came back to the East Coast. COVID would hit. During that time over COVID, I saw the idea of what Black could be or become wouldn't leave my mind. and I started working on it and really like looking at all the research, all the data of people who are unserved and underserved, who are unbanked and underbanked, who are overlooked, who are financially excluded, who are disenfranchised, who use alternative financial services to live paycheck to paycheck, whether that's check cashing entities, payday loans, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Renaissance, all things like that. Just all this research I did.
Yeah, that's like you're talking about the predatory financial products,
Yeah,
right?
predatory financial industry. So exorbitant fees, hidden fees, all that. So all that research, I said, yo, I gotta streamline what Black could be. I gotta really like look at it. And then Solvent was born. Solvent was born during 2021 and 2022 incorporated. 3 months after it was incorporated, I got into AWS's, which is Amazon's web services, impact accelerator for Black founders. They invested in Solvent, and I've been on the journey since then. I would come full circle back to Village Capital into one of their programs. They would invest, and now I'm currently in the Visa Inclusive FinTech Accelerator in collaboration with Plug and Play out in Silicon Valley. So I'm a current participant in that, and we're raising money. But really, at the end of the day, it's really how do we empower this overlooked, unserved and underserved, and financially excluded demographic, who majority are unbanked and underbanked. How do we empower them? And that's
Yeah.
what Solvent exists to be, because
Yeah.
there's no one solution for financial empowerment. Financial empowerment, especially wealth building, takes multiple tools, products, and services to achieve.
Yeah.
So that's what made us come up with a platform that was comprehensive, right? Financial literacy, entrepreneurship education, content curriculum, and resources around financial literacy and financial empowerment, banking services, credit repair, all these different things, man, in one platform,
Yeah.
mobile first, So that's
Yeah.
what Solvent is, and I'm still on that journey.
Yeah. Well, I always like hearing how people come up with the names of things. So I have an idea what you're saying solvent, because that's like being liquid, but what's the story behind the name?
I mean, it's Solvent what it is. I mean, it's having assets in excess of liabilities, right?
Right.
That's really what Solvent is. Solvent's being debt free. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Being financially sound. That's what Solvent's about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 You should this is like one of my favorite podcasts that I've been like following for like
Your
since
leisure.
or your leisure, yeah.
Yeah, I
Like
knew you were gonna say that.
yeah. I'm like I can see you definitely up there, like you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
my time will come. My time will come. Definitely. There's a time that we definitely gonna build with those brothers.
Yeah, they interviewed Ruben like what 2 years ago.
I remember I saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's cool, man. That's cool. So since we were talking about it earlier, but the other last week when COVID hit, there was like a mass exodus that left the Bay, me included. A lot of us just kind of went everywhere. Texas is like one of the main states they went to. Um, do you think that the Bay Area is still a hub for tech, or do you think now it's more decentralized and it's spread out?
Yeah, I definitely think it spread, it changed. It wasn't like when the days when we were there. When the days
Yeah.
we were there, that was like where you had to go and had to be. Now, nobody's even going there. Like unless you mean with a VC in Silicon Valley out of SF, the community like is not there like it used to be.
Yeah.
I remember all of us were out there.
Yeah.
Come on, brother. All of us was out there.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
people who we know became millionaires and multimillionaires with their companies,
Right.
right? We were
Right.
all out there. We could all run into each other at events
Any
and
given time. Yeah.
any given time. We were
Yeah.
all out there. We all shot out there. Now it's not like that no more. It's shifted. The wave has moved.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Silicon Valley is still Silicon Valley way before we got exposed to it or we entered it. So
Right.
that's always been what it's been.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But you know, it's definitely not what it used to be.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was talking to you actually might know him. You know Darrell Austin, right?
Darrell Austin.
Yeah, he works at PayPal. But me and him was like talking through text, or he used to work at PayPal. I'm not sure if he's still there. And I was like, because
Yeah,
he's
I do
still
know
in the bank.
Darrell.
Huh?
I call him Darrell. I think I call him
Yeah.
Darrell.
Daryl. Yeah, yeah.
You said Darrell, so that threw me off.
Darrell. I guess
Yeah,
maybe I spelled his name wrong in my phone book. But
yeah,
we
yeah.
was
No,
yeah,
but
we
it's
was
like
talking.
Darrell. Yeah, I know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah. And I was like, because he actually said that there's more people coming back because of the whole AI craze. Right.
I mean, it could be. I mean, but
Yeah.
I'm not on
I'm
it.
not
So I'm.
there yet. But I was texting him, I'm like, and you kind of touched on it, but Sand Hill Road didn't leave. They stayed there. Like,
Yeah, it's been
you
there
know,
forever. Like that's not
yeah,
like
yeah,
it's where the industry's at.
right.
It's like going to Chinatown in New York City.
Yeah,
Don't matter what's going on, whether they're selling Louis Vuitton or something else. It don't
yeah,
matter. It's not going nowhere.
right, right. Yeah, but it's like, because I'm like, I'm here in Houston, and the the crazy thing, and this is the thing I really miss about the Bay. It's like I mean, when I first got there, I would literally meet people, know them less than like 5 minutes, 30 minutes, and they just open up their whole network to me. I have I have yet to experience that somewhere else. And like Houston, I'm not really experiencing that here. It's like it feels a lot more gated. And that's like the
Yeah,
one thing
yeah.
I do miss about the Bay. It's like people would be like, and then once you get plugged in, it's like it
Yeah, it
just
spreads. Yeah, it spreads. It's like a cancer.
yeah.
It spreads.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yo, that's what it was, man. Like, especially with us, with individuals that come from the black community, because we were all trying to make it happen. We were all trying to make it work. We were
Yeah.
all trying to get to that bag. You know what I'm saying? So we was helping each other all the time.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like that was the that was a point in my life where I felt like I had never been it was like modern day like black connectedness to help each other. It was like I didn't feel like I was in competition with nobody else that was black. You know what I'm saying? Like we all were helping each other.
Yeah, exactly.
It didn't
And when I
matter
think,
when you were starting out, it didn't matter you was a top executive. Like it
right,
was
right.
I hadn't experienced that anywhere else. Like and I
When I,
came
when I
from
think
North Carolina. So
yeah, when I think about the whole San Francisco, like it really wasn't never my flow anyway. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? That whole that like when I think about being out there and moving through the city, it was never my flow. When I was out there recently, we had like a gala at Plug and Play. So I went out to Silicon Valley, shout out to SF real quick. And it's never been really my vibe, honestly. But
yeah.
it was where it was happening. So I had to be there to make my moves, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
So that's what
honestly,
it was for me.
and truth be told, like San Francisco for me was just like the money, right? And the connection. But I used to go to Oakland. As I stayed out there longer, I would spend most of my time in
I'm
Oakland.
in
Like
Oakland, yeah.
I loved Oakland. Like
Yeah, yeah.
Oakland was where I felt like I really became
Belong.
unapologetically
Oh
black. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? And I'm walking in West Oakland, and then I was talking to an old head. He's like, "Yeah, you know that part you just walked past." He's like, "Yeah, that's where the Black Panthers got started." I'm like, "Wow!" And it's crazy because I remember it's by West Oakland Park, and I remember I used to walk past it, and I don't know, for some reason I used to always stare at it, like I
Yeah,
felt some
sure,
type of
yeah.
energy from it. And I was
Energy, yeah.
talking to an old head. He's like, "Yeah, that's where the Black Panthers got started." And so yeah, I loved Oakland. Oakland, if I was to ever move back to the park, it'd be to Oakland.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's like San Francisco is like different. Like it's like
Nah, yeah, it's not my flow, man. Yeah, it ain't my flow, man. Keep it
yeah,
like that.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, that's cool. So you think yeah, you said so Solvent, you're going through a fundraise right now and
You're
stuff like that.
raising capital.
Yeah,
Um, you got some applications out there, some accelerators, see
yeah,
what happens.
yeah. So walk us through that process of like engaging with venture capitalists and raising money. How is that? Like I've heard different stories. Like
Yeah,
it's
I mean, it's not
hard.
easy.
Yeah,
I mean, it's arduous. It's arduous task, man. You gotta be 100% focused on raising capital, from anybody and anywhere. You know what I
right.
mean, DC or not. Um, But my approach has been like, do accelerators, get connected, make my moves, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
like I'm out here trying to do it, you know, without leaning on Ben. You know what I mean? Without tapping into him. I want to show that I could do it. I want to do it on my own merits.
Yeah.
You know, and I want to make it happen. So, and I want to learn. You know what I'm saying? So that's my challenge. My challenge is nothing more than the learning curve,
Yeah.
getting the experience. Because once I got that, once I know what it is, I'm good.
Right.
So that's always been like my hardest thing is just that learning curve, you know?
Yeah. 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 I haven't raised money before, but I was just recently talking to a founder. He's actually a part of the A16 class of entrepreneur. They have some like a program and they have like 70
TXO,
entrepreneurs in there.
TXO, talent and opportunity, I think.
I think that's it. His name is I actually am interviewing him later this month. He's Haitian. I'm blanking on his name, but he has like an event app. Um and he talked about how he broke down how he went about raising money. I've never heard nobody say this. So he actually made a spreadsheet of all the venture capital firms or the top 20 or whatever. And then he actually um made a list of their portfolio companies. And then he started contacting the CEOs of those portfolio companies. And then they referred him to the VCs. And then that's how I was able to raise money. And I was like, wow, like I haven't
Yeah.
heard anybody say
Yeah,
that.
he reverse engineered it.
Right. Yeah. And what he said was, and you know this, he's like, if the CEO of X company in this portfolio introduces me to the VC, he or she is automatically going to take me more serious because they know what that
Yeah,
VC is looking for. And that
exactly.
VC knows is like, wow, this person don't introduce me to that many people.
Right. They
So
know,
they got
yeah. It's credibility
yeah. I think his name is Andrew, if I'm
and
not
being
mistaken.
vetted.
Yeah. I was like, wow, that's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, Andrew Florell. Yeah, yeah. Real cool guy, young guy. Yeah. So what are like the things that you notice that are like the same in corporate and in the streets and also the differences?
Oh man, I mean, uh in the streets, it's more like there's no rules and no regulations. You know what I'm saying? You could move how you want to move. You can kill your competition. You know what I'm saying? If it come down to it. In business, you can't do that necessarily. You got to kill them, figuratively speaking. Um, and just really like, when we talked about before, like the building the product. What's the product? Sourcing the best product or materials needed to have the best product. And
Hmm.
the production of it, the manufacturing, um, the uh the promotion and marketing of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
The packaging, distribution,
yeah,
you know what I mean? The risks that are involved
yeah,
in business, you know what I mean? So those all parallel similarities to legal business and illegal business. Um, but the difference is that, the real strong difference is in the legal business, you don't there's no detriment or no repercussions that you're going to go to prison unless you're in a legal business doing something illegal.
yeah,
Of course. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But yeah, that's what I would say, man.
yeah, yeah. That's cool. That's cool. So a few years back, you lost your son. And my I lost my older brother, so I saw my mom even to this day still more or whatever. Like holidays are hard or whatever. The anniversary of his passing is actually coming up in April. Um, so I want to ask you, what are some things because you never really get over that, but what are some things that you do today to actually make sure your spirit's high and that you're able to move forward?
It's crazy. I was watching the video today. Um, and this like shaman was building about you always want to. It's better to remember the people you lost that you've loved in a positive light because their memory will forever bring you joy. But if you think about their memory and let it be a source of pain, it changes the whole dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you want them here, you want them to be here, but the reality is that they're not here. But if you can look at their memory and when you think of them, find joy in your experience with them, what you learned from them, what you shared with them, the love you transferred with them. It's better than thinking about them and being sad and
Yeah.
being down and being hurt. We know you're gonna be hurt. Of course you're hurt. Of course you're
Yeah.
sad. But if you dwell on that, you switch the memory from being something that brought you joy in life when they were here to something that now brings you pain in life now that they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
So just tying those two things together and really realizing the emotional attachment we have to those we love and we've lost or that have transitioned. So that was kind of deep what I learned. That I saw this video today that kind of broke that down. So I thought
Yeah.
that was kind of ill. And that was my second born, man. You know what I'm saying?
Rest in peace to him.
Yeah, rest in peace. Tyrell, J Long, Lasky, man. Word up. Um, you never fully hail or fully accept that someone you love so dearly and deeply is gone. You just learn to become stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Deal with that. You know what I mean? To deal with it.
Yeah.
But it's always gonna be a missing piece from your life and your heart and all that. It's not like, especially when you have a child that you got to bury your child.
Yeah, that's tough.
Thing from you burying your mom's or someone that's lived their full life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, so that's how I deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to share like a old memory of my brother, and I want to hear one from you about your son. So like when we moved, um, when we moved, so I was born in New York, and then we moved down south to Kinston, North Carolina, and then later to Goldsboro. And so I think I was we how long did we stay in Kinston? We stayed in Kinston. I moved down there when I was 1, and then we stayed there until I was about 4. And so my brother had a bike, and so he would put me on a bike, and I was always never scared of nothing. So I would ride it, and then I would get tired. I'd be like, Omar, take me off the bike. And he started laughing. I'm like, and I have to keep riding. He just laughing. I'm like, take me off the bike, take me off the bike. So then he would have to catch me off the bike. And so it was like one of my fond memories of it. It's just like, wow, like he was really pushing me forward. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I was riding the bike early. I was doing a lot of stuff early. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'd love to hear like a fond memory that you have of your son that like gives you joy.
Yeah, man. Oh man, so many, man, so many. But like, just spending time with him, man. Because my firstborn, I left when he was 3 years old. I went
Hmm.
to prison. So I didn't come back until he was like 9. So I lost a lot. I lost a lot of those years, which, is still to this day, you know, um, there's still healing that needs to be done on both our sides. But with my second born, I was able to enter his life around 3 or 4, and then all the way up to 18 or 17 before he joined the Marines.
Hmm.
Oh. And then so that whole experience, having the opportunity to relive the experience of being a father in the life of such, a young child that I lost with my firstborn was nothing less than, you know, nothing less than beautiful, man, and crazy impactful. Gave me purpose, gave me drive, gave me hope, man. You know what I mean? A lot of different ways. But just really being able to get that back after losing that.
Yeah.
That's what he gave me, man. He gave me like, a redo, if you would, or It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
How reflecting on that, when I looking back at that, like I really got a chance. Even though I lost with my firstborn, I gained it with my secondborn. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? And so that was the most beautiful thing that I was able to recapture in those times, in a sense, right?
yeah.
Experience what that would have been like with my firstborn.
Yeah. Actually.
Yeah, there's a whole experience, man. There's no one thing I would ever want to point out. You know what I'm saying? Because it was all beautiful,
Yeah.
the entirety of it,
Yeah.
every second, every minute, every hour,
Yeah.
every day, every night. Wow.
That's good. Cool. Um, yeah, man, I think oh, actually there is another question I had. We was talking about AI, right? And
Yeah,
talking about Tyler Perry, and how he halted building expanding his studio. I want to hear your take on that because I haven't heard nobody give their take on it. The one you gave about why he actually shut it down
yeah.
and his
I
next
mean,
move.
I think, I've never really been a quote unquote conspiracy theorist. I've never really been called one. I have ideas about things and how they move and how the world moves.
Right,
Been exposed to lot of different things. To me, I think that was staged. I think that was staged and that was coordinated um for him to do that, to big up the AI industry, right? To elevate the AI industry. Because there's so much going on with AI.
right,
You know what I'm saying? In the public domain and in the private domain, in the government domain. So much going on with AI. The power of AI, the use of AI, the positive of AI, the negative of AI. So I think it was coordinated for him to give that, to state what he stated for whatever reason. I don't know the reason. I could come up with a lot of different reasons why, but I don't think it was for the exact reason he said it was for.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Um, because he mentioned a specific product. You know what I mean? At the time that when it first came out, right? He mentioned, is it called Solana? What's the name
yeah.
of
I
that?
remember with yes. Hold on, I'm keep talking about. I'm
He
looking
actually
at
mentioned like that the video Chat
So-
GPT,
Sora,
OpenAI,
yeah, Sora, yeah, Sora.
OpenAI Sora. Yeah, yeah, exactly. He mentioned that. So I just think it was like maybe he got equity to mention that. Maybe he got equity to do that
Mm,
or to hold off on it. Or you know what I'm saying? Like you don't never know, man. These
yeah,
corporations, man, be doing, you know what I'm saying, be doing some moves, man.
yeah,
Just never know.
yeah,
So that was my first thinking was he didn't just come out and just say, because he mentioned a specific product. He didn't say just AI in general. He specifically said this open AI video AI product, right?
all right,
Thing. You know what I mean? So he's basically saying he's giving so much credibility. You know what I'm saying? It's like he's giving so much credibility by saying, I'm someone who's been making movies in Hollywood and independently for all these years. I'm a billionaire. I built a studio. I plan on expanding that studio, but
I'm halting it because of
I'm
Sora.
holding that because of this
Yeah,
open AI
yeah,
video AI product.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like this is, I don't know.
You know what it remind me of? So back in what 2021 when Bitcoin was going crazy and it's actually going crazy now.
Yeah,
NFTs were going really crazy, and you was hearing about so and so bought this NFT, so and so bought this NFT, and I remember
yeah.
saying to somebody, I'm like, they're not buying these NFTs. They're giving them whoever wants them to promote their NFT.
Of course they are. Come
They're
on, man.
giving them the money to buy it so they can say they bought it.
Of course.
Yeah,
They gift it to them, and can you say you bought it? We're gonna gift it to you.
right.
So that's marketing spin.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, come on, man.
yeah,
There's so many games. There's so many games in the game. It's a game. You know
right.
what I'm saying? You know what I mean? The game
Yeah,
is rigged, man. Like, you know what I mean? Come on, man.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but if you think inside the box, you'll never think about things like that.
Right.
Your whole
Right.
thing is like, you're gonna be so focused on, damn, he's not, he's gonna say so many jobs are gonna be lost to AI. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And all that.
Yeah.
So, that's how I look at things, man, deeper than how they appear.
Deeper than rap, right?
Take nothing on face value, man.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Devon. I think that's all the questions, man. First off, man, I want to thank you for this opportunity. Like you taking the time, and
Yeah.
for y'all, we didn't plan this. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
we
saying?
didn't plan
We didn't plan it,
the
but
navy blue and all that.
I guess
Yo,
divine intervention. You know what I'm
that's what
saying?
it is, man. You know what I'm saying? We see eye to eye.
Yeah.
Keep it
Yeah.
up. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it, man. It's one of the most um, candid interviews I've done, man. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. You poured your heart here, so man, I appreciate it, man. And I wanted to really talk about music because I didn't know you was that deep into it. So it was like I like was genuinely curious, like, wow,
yeah, nah, the music segment was ill. Yeah, we
yeah,
definitely got into the music.
yeah,
It's what I love, man. It's what I love, man. So it brings me joy that I'm able to talk about my early days of music and all that. So I don't get asked that a lot now.
yeah,
I think when I start dropping these records and put an album together and drop that, the people will want to talk about it for a minute with me. So
right,
looking
yeah,
forward to that. You know what I mean?
yeah. All right, y'all. Thanks for joining us. I'm Corey. Stay trapping. This is Trap Talks. Devon, thanks, brother.
I'm Divine.
Yeah, y'all take care.
Peace.
Stay trapping.
Peace.